In a world where education and intellect were only a thing men could possess, where slavery and discrimination tore our nation apart as it plunged into darkness. A light flickered in Chester County, Pennsylvania. A community of liberal Quakers, led by Dr. Bartholomew Fussell, decided it was high time for change. Additionally, there were also abolitionists active in the Underground Railroad. Dr. B. Fussell wanted to pay a tribute to his departed sister, Esther Lewis, whom he felt could have been a physician, if not for the social norms at the time. He asked 5 doctors to join him. At a meeting in his house in 1846, called the Pines, he invited his nephew, Edwin Fussell, Dr. Elwood Harvey, Dr. Ezra Missioner, Dr. Franklin Taylor, and Dr. Sylvester Birdsall. After lots of discussion, they established the Female Medical College of Pennsylvania in 1850, disputed to be the very first women-only medical college in the world. But many argued that the Boston Female Medical College came first, founded in 1848. Nevertheless, on October 12, 1850, the college stood proud with the help of William J. Mullen, a businessman. The first graduation ceremony happened in December of 1852 because at the time, you only required 2 years to study in medical school to be a doctor, and 8 women were seen to receive their degrees, including Hannah Longshore, who was Philadelphia's first active female doctor, and Anne Preston, the first female dean of a medical school. She became the school's first female professor in 1853 and dean in 1866. In fact, one of Anne Preston's letters to Hannah Darlington, she says, "I can give nothing more, the joy of exploring a new field of knowledge, the rest from accustomed pursuits and cares, the stimulus of competition, the novelty of a new kind of life are all mine, and all for the time possess a charm. There is a considerable and increasing apparatus, and the professors seem enthusiastic and to have their hearts in their business. As an evidence of the spirit of opposition to this institution that prevails among the medical profession."
First graduation from the Female Medical College, it was on South Street, South Street in Philadelphia at the Academy of Music, which is now on Broad Street, but in those days, it's on South Street. I think they had like about 6 women graduating. They had 50 cops there because they were so worried that the men were going to show up and riot and try and disrupt this ceremony. At 50 policemen, which was like, 6 times as many or 7 times as many people as the actual graduating class.
Because the establishment was so frowned upon by other men and male medical students, the venue where the ceremony was held in had a crowd of cops guarding the tiny, meager event to prevent other men from rioting and disrupting the ceremony. Eventually, the institution got renamed to the Women's Medical College of Pennsylvania in 1867, WMCP for short. On November 6, 1869, when a group of WMCP students went to the Pennsylvania Hospital Amphitheater to attend a lecture, it called the attention of several other male medical students, resulting in them catcalling, yelling, and spitting tobacco onto the females' dresses. This event came to be known as the jeering episode. Philadelphia went far from unnoticed. All the newspapers and press were all over it. The Philadelphia Evening Bulletin proclaimed it to be the blackguardism. One Philadelphia reporter said, "Why these sagacious youths object to female physicians we do not know, unless it is that they are conscious of intellectual deficiency and are afraid of competition from persons whom they feel to be their superiors mentally as they are morally." In general, the news was spread across the world, drawing lots of attention onto the university, but not necessarily bad attention.
How bad it was. They would sometimes take the ladies, and there was probably only about maybe 8 or not even 10, I doubt it, female students over to where they were dissecting bodies, which was at the men's schools. and the men would throw stuff at them and swear at them, and they were very hostile.
In fact, the attention just brought in more students from abroad. Dr. Anandibai Joshi from India, who graduated in 1886, being the first Indian woman to earn a medical degree, Dr. Keio Kami, who was the first Japanese woman to earn a degree in Western medicine, who graduated in 1889, and Dr. Sabat Izambuli, the first female physician from Syria. She graduated in 1890. The school graduated its first African American student in 1852 to 1853, Sarah Mapps Douglas. In 1867, the school graduated Rebecca J. Cole, the second African American woman to ever receive a medical degree in the country. There were many others, which include the former slave Eliza Ann Greer, Verena M. Harris, Hal Tanner Dillon Johnson, Matilda Evans, and most importantly, Caroline Still Anderson, daughter of William Still Anderson. Speaking of slavery, the Underground Railroad was ran by most of the founders of the university. Dr. Harvey, Dr. Bartholomew Fussell, but primarily Dr. Harvey. It was while he was at the college that he accepted the mission to rescue a slave in Washington, D.C. named Anne Maria Weems in November 1855. This story had been written about in various publications, including the book Stealing Freedom. Disguised as a boy, Anne was picked up in front of the White House, posed as Dr. Harvey's buggy driver, as they drove to the Philadelphia residence of William Still, the famous black abolitionist and chronicler of the Underground Railroad. Eventually, Anne would reach the Buxton settlement in Canada and freedom. With the $300 of reward money for rescuing Anne, Dr. Harvey bought the first dissection mannequin for the Female Medical College of Pennsylvania. Regardless of the good or bad publicity, a lot of attention was put on the place. A lot of people started to support the idea of the institution. However, another event happened on June 2nd, 1915. The 66th WMCP commencement was given by Dr. Richard Clark Cabot, a professor at Harvard University. Instead of commending the 30 graduates on their success, he bluntly asserted that the average woman was not fitted to become a successful practitioner or laboratory worker, and he advised the women to sideline those branches of work and devote to social service instead. He said that the work and competition and the existing prejudice against women at the time would make them feel disappointed or dissatisfied. At this point, there were many women physicians practicing medicine in the U.S. and abroad who took offense to his assertion that women physicians are quote-unquote disappointed. Like the jeering episode, there is a great record of outcry over his speech, as reflected by press reports and editorials. But after a while, the women calmed down. In Dr. Gertrude's own words, she says, Dr. Cabot's speech aroused considerable resentment at first, later came a calmer consideration of his views. The amount of refutation of his conclusion that women physicians were disappointed that appeared in the press aroused curiosity. As a result, more women are entering the profession than ever before. And she was right. In fact, many men took the side of the women in this case. 120 years after its founding, in 1970, the WMCP truly stuck to its word of equal educational rights for all and admitted 4 men, changing its name to the Medical College of Pennsylvania. In 1995, the Medical College of Pennsylvania, MCP for short, merged with Hahnemann University's medical school, which was founded in 1848, operating under several organizational structures until it was established as the Drexel University College of Medicine in 2002. Sadly, Dr. Bartholomew Fussell's house, The Pines, is in ruins and is about to be destroyed and wrecked by commercial manufacturers. In fact, not a lot of people know about this event going on because they are unaware of the establishment in the first place. This story deserves to be told and heard over and over again. The Quakers and supporters of the establishment of the university took the social responsibility and the ethical responsibility to fight for equal human rights, the rights for women to be educated as much as men were. To this day, equal rights for men and women are still to be resolved. So we should take our rights and responsibilities seriously. We have to think about the deeper stories, both the men and the women, especially the women, that were fighting for their rights, for their responsibilities. And their stories deserve to be heard too.